Hey everybody, Derek back again, and I'm here to bring you another video for our Walking Dead countdown to the Season 5 premiere. We are exactly 60 days away from our upcoming 5th season premiere, and hey, another day's passing by, we're getting closer, we're going to be entering the 50s soon, and, I really hope that maybe some of these videos are helping you pass the time. It's definitely helping me pass the time, trying to figure out different topics for you guys, and, making these, and trying to figure out what the best topics would be, and I really hope that it's helping some of you get through it too. It is hard waiting for The Walking Dead to come back. It's a long summer. It's one of the things that I say, hey, I'm okay with winter, because The Walking Dead is something that, helps me get through the winter. So tonight what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 5 webisode topics that I think that The Walking Dead should do. Now, as some of you may know, they've already done 3 different Webisode series. I believe they were called Torn Apart, Cold Storage, and The Oath. And the first one, Torn Apart, had to do with the bicycle walker that Rick kills in the first episode, Hannah, and her origin story. The second one, Cold Storage, it kind of dealt with some people in a storage unit, place. And one of the things that we noticed was a connection there was one of Rick's photo albums, or a picture of his family was in there. And Carl did mention in season 3 that they had stayed at storage lockers. Now, obviously, this would have had to have happened after the webisode, but nonetheless, it gives you a perspective of, another place, and maybe there was a connection with that storage locker. And The Oath had to do with the origin story of how the "Don't Open Dead Inside" sign got painted on the door. The one when Rick wakes up at the hospital. And it's nice to see, hey, there's actually more to it than just, somebody painted a sign. And these webisodes are definitely great. They're definitely well written. They're definitely well acted. I think that Greg Nicotero does a great job of crafting and directing these each season. And I think that there's going to be more. As long as there's Walking Dead, I think that they're going to explore a couple things. And I picked about 5 topics that I think that maybe they should do. They might provide interesting storylines, different origin stories. I think that would be very interesting. And I'd also like to see a couple that involve some of our cast members currently. And it would be a chance to kind of bring them back, even for just a little bit, and seeing what happened to them. Now, because it involves some of the cast members now, I just suggest that if you're not caught up, you don't watch this video, as it may contain spoilers that you may not know about if you're not caught up all the way to season 4. So if you haven't watched all of it yet, please exit the video now and come back at a later time when you're all caught up, okay? Okay, so again, what I'm going to do is 5 webisode topics that I think The Walking Dead should do. And I've always thought it was nice of them to do the webisodes. It definitely helps get a little taste of Walking Dead before it starts. You're always missing the show when it goes off the air for the summer, and I'm really, looking forward to the next series. I don't know what it's going to be about yet. They really don't release too much information about them, but anyways, these are the 5 that I picked out. Number 5 is going to be how Penny, the governor's daughter, was bitten and became a walker. I always thought that that would be very interesting. Now, I think it was explained in one of the governor's novels that Robert Kirkman wrote, how Penny got bitten. I have not had the chance to read any of those novels at this time. If I ever get the chance, I might, do an update on that. But the one thing you learn is that the Walking Dead TV show does not have to follow the comic books, and we've shown that they don't always. They have gone in different directions. And they could definitely write, I think, a very good story about how Penny got bit, and maybe how it affected the governor. Maybe it was the governor's fault. Maybe he did something that resulted in his daughter getting bit, and maybe he carries that guilt with him, which is why he keeps his daughter chained up as a walker, even in Woodbury. And I think it'd be very nice to see that. Plus, it would also be nice to see the governor again, maybe see how he, came to be the man he is today. Because one of the things you realize is that maybe if the governor wouldn't have lost Penny, he wouldn't have become the man that he became in the Walking Dead world. I always say that Rick is somewhat a little more centered because he has Carl. He has family, he has Judith. He has people that he cares about, which prevent him from going too far gone to the point where he can't come back. And I think that maybe if the governor would have had Penny, he wouldn't have become the person that he was. So I think that'd definitely be a very interesting topic. Number 4 is going to be back in the series premiere Days Gone By, when Rick went up to that house to try to get gas for his squad car. The family that was inside there that had been killed and had written that sign, "God forgive us," in blood on the wall. I think they could possibly do a series on that, because I think it's definitely very, interesting. Maybe there's a good story about what happened there. Maybe somebody was bitten and they had to put them down, or maybe there was a bigger story. But I think that, one of the things that they like to do is they really focus on like small little details. And I always said, well, if they're going to continue to do that for these webisodes, I think that that would be a very good place to start. That's another little tidbit from the series premiere that they could definitely do a story on and show how it happened before Rick comes along and comes upon the scene while looking for gas for his squad car. So I definitely think if you're looking for something to focus on the little tidbit parts, that would definitely be a good video in my opinion. Number 3 is going to be how Bob lost one of his groups, or both of them maybe. Bob revealed that he had lost 2 groups before he ended up finding Daryl and Glenn on the road. And Bob had traveled alone for quite a while. And I think that it would be very interesting to see how Bob came to lose his group and why he was the only survivor. Because I think that it's definitely very important to maybe analyze what happened with Bob. And I definitely think that one of the things that you may look forward to is, hey, maybe Bob was responsible for that. You don't know. For all we know, Bob may have been responsible for his group's dying, or he may have gone wandering off for some booze, came back, and his group was dead. You don't know. But I think that it would be interesting to see how Bob came to be alone, because it may show, some of the, the guilt that he carries with him. Because I think that maybe his alcoholism goes more beyond just, that he has a problem. It may go from because he has demons because of what happened. And I think exploring that would definitely be something worthy of a webisode. I really do. Number 2 is one that a lot of us may want to see, and that is how Merle ended up running into the governor. One of the things that we realize is that after Merle cuts off his hand on the roof of the building, it's clear that he had to have found the governor, or he had to have found help rather quickly, because he'd still be bleeding out. He'd probably still have an infection, on his stub. He did cauterize the wound on that stove, but he was going to need to get help really quick. And I have no doubt that he may have actually run into the governor really, really quickly. And I think that it would be very interesting to see how he did that, how he was able to survive. Because Merle is one of our favorite characters, and it would definitely be nice to know how exactly did he not run into Rick's group, how did all of that come down? What was he thinking? And, it'd be nice to see Merle again, and again, it would be nice to see the governor again, These are characters that were very important to the show, and bringing them back even for a webisode would definitely be very interesting. And maybe Michael Rooker would be up for that, I think that he definitely was very dedicated to the role, to the show, and I think that, if they found some time to film that between him and, the governor, I think it would be a very, very, very good storyline for him. And finally, number 1, and probably something that a lot of us, again, would like to see, is how Sophia ended up in the barn. Sophia, as we know in the season 2 premiere, What Lies Ahead, she is almost attacked by these 2 walkers, and Rick saves her, but she runs off and ends up getting lost. And, we always wondered, how did that happen to Sophia? How did she end up in the barn? Because one of the things that you realize is, really, everything happened between the premiere and bloodletting. Approximately like 48 hours, I think, was the time period in between there. And it's clear that Otis put her in the barn before he was killed in the 3rd episode of the 2nd season. And I think that it'd be very interesting to see, how did Sophia end up there? Because we know that she dropped her teddy bear in that ravine where Daryl ends up in Chupacabra. And I just really think that it would be interesting to focus on that. Madison Lintz is a few years older, yes, but I think that we would be willing to look past that and, realize that maybe she has gotten a few years older. But I think that it would be very interesting to see how she ended up there. I think there's more to it. I think that maybe she hid for a little while. Maybe she ran into Otis and maybe something happened. We don't know. And I definitely think that it would be very interesting to see how she ended up in the barn. Because I like the webisodes and I think that they're really awesome, but I also think that they could do a better job of maybe showing how it relates to other characters. And I think that it would make it a little more exciting. It would get a lot more views. It would get a lot more publicity. And I think that it would just be very good to know how some of the things happen. And then again, maybe it's not. Maybe it's nice to leave it up to our own imagination. It's a two-sided coin. You just have to pick, your own side. Would you rather know or would you rather leave it up to interpretation? And, they may just leave it up to interpretation. But again, these are just things that I think it would be nice to see as webisodes. I think that they would be very interesting. They would definitely provide a great storyline, and I think that they would be very great. So I'm going to bring this video to a close. I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank everybody that has subscribed so far. It really means a lot to me, no matter how few people do. I'm going to still continue to make these videos. I'm going to help us count down to the premiere. And afterwards, I'm going to give my own thoughts on the Season 5, the whole Season 5 season of the show. And I'm going to be starting my Sons of Anarchy videos soon. I'm going to be starting my Walking Dead Walker Kill Count video series at some point. I'll have more information on that later as I get to that point. So again, I want to thank you all, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you.